winning dominoes fell yesterday as the Bears agreed to a deal with Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson to become their next head coach. Chicago moved quickly to get a deal done after Detroit got knocked out on Saturday. He beats out 16 other candidates who had been interviewed. So there's obviously, Shefty said to me on Sunday NFL Countdown, with the somewhat surprising loss of Detroit, that the coaching cycle, which we thought was going to extend weeks, was all of a sudden going to go like this. Because both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are going to get jobs, and then everything falls into place. So take us through that part of it quickly, because clearly Caleb Williams is the story here.
Yeah, well, Ben Johnson, obviously, Caleb Williams' development is priority number one for the Bears, and they feel like Ben Johnson will be the right steward for that. Obviously, they must feel like he has good head coach qualities as well, or else they wouldn't have hired him for this job. But yeah, Caleb Williams is their top priority, top pick in the draft. He has to succeed. They feel like Ben Johnson is a guy who is creative and innovative and will build an offense around Caleb's strengths while at the same time working to iron out whatever weaknesses there are. So it doesn't hurt that they take him away from a division rival that's won the division the last couple of years. And as you mentioned, that Lions coaching staff could get thin. Aaron Glenn's talking to the Jets today, their defensive coordinator, and there are some assistants that are out interviewing for other jobs as well. So that's the price of success for Detroit. Chicago's hoping to benefit from it.
So I can tell you this, even with Ohio State winning the national championship last night, that cheer you heard emanating from the Midwest was from Chicago.
Yeah.
Every Bears fan I know was praying they would get this guy because they think he's the guy to turn Caleb Williams into what he can potentially be, as they watch the guy who got drafted after him having one of the greatest seasons that we've ever seen in the history of the sport. I'm turning to my quarterback. Is this the right hire to make Caleb Williams a star?
It's the worthy dice roll. That's what hiring a head coach is. It's a dice roll, and this is the one that you can justify as being worthy. He's got to go be Caleb Williams, Sean McVay. Sean McVay and what he did to Jared Goff. Jared was this talented guy that really struggled his rookie season. Sean McVay comes in and he takes over, and Jared Goff's career ascends. I think that the two things are, number one, play action pass. That's the genesis, the foundation, the backbone of what Ben Johnson loves to do. And this is something that Caleb Williams struggled with last year. One, throwing the football, and then two, sacks within it. And I'm not saying that they were the same offense, when it comes to play design and execution wise, but I do think the most important part is Caleb getting to play on time with his feet and Caleb not holding on to the football for too long. That's the main difference. Now Jared's a veteran. Jared Goff's performance in this offense and where Caleb has to get to. If he does that, the young man is remarkably talented. Easier said than done, but absolutely possible.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Like it is a gamble, but this is the only hire the Bears had. Like this was the name that was going to settle their fan base down, right? They've tried this with two different quarterbacks. It's been a train wreck. They're going to do whatever they can to surround this quarterback with the best, quote, offensive mind in the game, and that was Ben Johnson for this hiring cycle. So it is what it is. But to Dan's point, when you think about Caleb Williams, just to put this into context, it's from Hembo, 70 QBR with 3 seconds or less, 12 with 3 seconds or more. You would not think that would work. 12 with 3 seconds or more. So what that tells you is it's paralysis by analysis. He gets when he has to make decisions, he doesn't know where to go with the ball. That's going to be Ben Johnson's first job. And let me tell you, he better bring somebody good with him, because head coaching and calling plays, two different things.
Yeah, that's the point that I want to harp on. And we all acknowledge that it's a gamble and maybe it works out. But you said that they hired him in part because it quieted the fans down. Yeah. And that's not how you hire a coach.
That's a fact.
Or you hired him because you think he's going to fix Caleb. Honestly, I don't think that's the reason to hire him anyway. The person who's going to spend the most time with Caleb is going to be the quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator. Yeah. Being a head coach is an entirely different job. So if you brought in Ben Johnson and you think that he's going to dedicate himself to that, then who's head coaching the team? That's the concerning part to me. Ben Johnson, I would have loved them to have a guy who had previous head coaching experience. Ben Johnson doesn't have that. He's been a coordinator for...
To win the Super Bowl, followed closely by the Bills and the Chiefs, according to ESPN Bet. The Birds are also 6-point favorites at home on Sunday against the Commanders. Now, that's those who are still in it. The Lions are out, but now they're out an OC to boot. We got a coaching carousel stop. Ben Johnson getting off to coach Caleb Williams and the Bears. He's been arguably the hottest name on the coaching carousel the last 2 years running. That's what happens when you run Detroit's vaunted, innovative offense, top 10 the past 2 seasons, and tops this season in scoring. Got his work cut out for him, though, taking over a Bears team that finished 5-12, fifth worst in scoring. It's the third time in 8 years the Bears have taken a quarterback high in the first round with a coach that was no longer there after their rookie year and replaced them with a coach that didn't draft them. The Bears have not won a playoff game since 2010 when they lost the NFC Championship game. NFL insider Dan Graziano with us now. Dan, what more can you tell us about how Chicago expects the duo of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams to be different from the previous administrations?
Well, Ryan, I think if Caleb Williams' development is paramount for the Chicago Bears, then they feel like they have a guy that can sort of shepherd that in the right ways. Ben Johnson is an innovative and creative offensive mind that the Bears believe will be able to build an offense around the things Caleb Williams does well while he works with him on the things he needs to improve. And they just don't feel like what they had this year was conducive to that. Obviously, a key to this also is what kind of head coach Ben Johnson will be, as opposed to just an offensive coordinator and play caller. Obviously, the Bears see high-level leadership characteristics in him and believe that he can transfer that role as well. A good sign that he's also bringing in some experience on his staff. It looks like former Raiders and Saints head coach Dennis Allen likely to join as his defensive coordinator. So surrounding himself with experience in his first time as head coach, they feel like should help him develop into that role while he works with Caleb Williams on making the number one pick in last year's draft as good as he can be.
And Caleb Williams has talked about Johnson before, saying he appreciates his innovative skills. We'll see how it all plays out with them together. Now, the Bears found their coach. The Lions need a new OC. Yesterday, Dan Campbell said he prepared to lose both Johnson and DC Aaron Glenn. Dan, what's the latest on the defensive coordinator for the Lions?
Yeah, Aaron Glenn, former New York Jets cornerback, is interviewing today in person with the Jets to be their next head coach. It's a second interview for Aaron Glenn, who was on their very long list of initial interview candidates. Important to note, Ryan, as of now, the Jets do not have any other head coach interviews scheduled. So while that could change, obviously, it gives you some idea that Aaron Glenn may in fact be their top choice. He's scheduled to meet with the New Orleans Saints tomorrow, another former team of his. But the Jets, have him first. They get the first shot at him. Certainly possible, if all goes well with the interview today, that they're able to lock him in and maybe make him their next head coach as early as today.
Wow, I wonder what he thinks about keeping Aaron Rodgers. Now, Dan Campbell said it's going to absolutely hurt to lose Johnson and Glenn, but that he'll be forever grateful for their contributions indeed. We're always grateful for you, Dan. Thanks.
Part of the show where the only thing better than the overreactions are the actual reactions.
I'm pretty sure about a month ago, let us say not an overreaction here.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
I didn't realize we're giving out participation trophies right